Despite concerted efforts on the part of the government to prevent domestic MDMA synthesis, market demand and chemical ingenuity allow amazing synthetic feats to be accomplished under less than ideal conditions. I met a supplier and a chemist who offered to allow me to bear witness to their synthesis of MDMA.
This entire setup, even though it is still kind of tiny, we started micro scale because I had lost my job, had no money whatsoever. So we were just trying out the route, smallest bits as we could at a time, and then working it up. There's been a lot of experimentation with the different routes and also just sourcing the over-the-counter chemicals.
When people see this, there's going to be a lot of people who are angry and will say, you shouldn't show that, you're exposing something that the public shouldn't know about. So why are you taking the enormous risk of showing me this?
Basically, I just wanted to be honest because I don't want to hide anything. You know, I want them to see the service that we were providing from start to finish, and I think that's something that the world finally needs to see. So even though this is dangerous and I could end up in prison, I feel like it's my duty to try and change people's minds.
What kind of music do you like to listen to while you're cooking?
Rachmaninoff.
American sassafras albendum oil is distilled under vacuum to isolate safrole from other phenylpropines and terpenoids.
Potassium hydroxide, that's the catalyst.
Potassium hydroxide is added to 6.3 molar equivalents of safrole and heated under vacuum to drive off water.
This is when the magic starts to happen, and it will suddenly turn blue and then brown and black.
Hydroxide ions abstract the benzylic proton, isomerizing the safrole to the thermodynamically favorable internal alkene isosafrole.
It foams up a lot.
The crude isosafrole is distilled under vacuum.
Here's your gorgeous Schedule 1 precursor, isosafrole.
Formic acid is dissolved in 3 molar equivalents of 35% hydrogen peroxide and stirred in an ice bath for an hour to produce performic acid.
Kicking that ice's ass.
The distilled isosafrole is dissolved in sodium bicarbonate buffered DCM.
Probably my most enjoyable thing doing in the lab is the swirling of the flask.
The most wizardly.
And placed in a salted ice bath. An approximate 4.5 molar excess of crude performic acid is poured down a Liebig condenser over a period of 15 minutes with vigorous magnetic stirring, resulting in the evolution of carbon dioxide gas and a yellow color change.
What's really interesting about this particular operation is that all of the materials are acquired from hardware stores or other inconspicuous non-scientific supply sources, and the result is very impressive.
A crude mixture of aqueous acids and oxidation products, primarily consisting of the isosafrole epoxide, the isosafrole glycol, and the glycol's monoformate ester, is transferred into a SEP funnel, and an emulsion is broken with a vibrating dilding apparatus.
Well, I mean, just the right spot.
The mixed isosafrole oxidation products are dissolved in methanol, heated to 70 degrees Celsius, and treated with an approximate 3.8 molar excess of 15% hydrochloric acid, which hydrolyzes the isosafrole glycol monoformate ester, opens the isosafrole epoxide, and initiates a pinacol rearrangement on the resulting isosafrole glycol. After 2 hours, brown droplets of MdP2P oil begin to rise and fall from the surface of the reaction mixture in a convection current. The crude MdP2P oil,
Clear and gorgeous. When we're done extracting and washing, this is what we use in order to make sure that we don't lose product and it precipitates out with no trouble whatsoever.
The pooled organic layers are dried with anhydrous magnesium sulfate. Hydrogen chloride gas is generated by dripping hydrochloric acid over sulfuric acid. The hydrogen chloride is bubbled into the xylene solution of MDMA freebase, and crystals of the hydrochloride salt precipitate out of solution.
Yep, there it goes. It was so exciting.
The MDMA hydrochloride slurry is poured into an improvised Buchner funnel and dried under vacuum. Then washed with chilled anhydrous acetone from a spray bottle. The hydrochloride salt is dissolved in heated isopropanol to form a saturated solution, then allowed to crystallize overnight. Finally, residual isopropanol is stripped under vacuum. And voila!
That is the product.
Purified crystal MDMA hydrochloride.
That's my goal. I just want to spread love.